Hello there, it's me, Nobby, again with another 70-odd thousand euro Skoda in Enyaq form and in RS Enyaq form today. Now I actually had a look at this car in Tuscany in March 2022. That is how long it's taken the Enyaq RS to actually become a thing on Irish roads. Not just in Ireland, just semiconductors and all that stuff. So this is a 295 brake horsepower version of the really successful Enyaq. This one is dual motored, bit more power to the rear, more power to the front as it's needed. And well, in some ways, it's kind of value for money because the standard Enyaq RS is about 71,000 euro. Now this car is 77. But a normal Enyaq is creeping up towards the really late 50s now. And the recent Enyaq Coupe I had on the channel was also kind of around about this price, but it doesn't have the same performance. Now it is kind of straight line performance predominantly because this is not a light car. It weighs a lot, but it has got some pretty cool optional extras like the Matrix headlights. If you've never experienced them, you've got it. The way they open up the headlight throw down a dark country lane is unbelievable, and you can leave them on high beam, full beam towards other cars. Doesn't affect them. It kind of moves around them so they don't get dazzled. Now the controversial part of this car is crystal face, and I say that because some people aren't exactly sure. One thing this car does have though is a 2,000 euro service pack, which gets you free servicing, 3 of those, and your first change of tyres completely free. And these upgraded 21-inch alloys with those tyres are not going to be cheap. So that's all included. So I know it's not a really cheap car, don't get me wrong, it's not. But some of the packs built into it are kind of interesting. Another optional extra is Phoenix Orange on this car. It's about 1,100 quid. There's a Mamba Green, which is actually the colour of the RS badge. And if you're really brave, you'd get it in that. Now you can get an Enyaq RS in the coupe version of the car as well. You don't just have to get the kind of hatchback, liftback version of it. I think it looks great from the side. I like the colour. It's very bright. You've got roof rails if you want to bring things away. You've got charging on the back. Every other way, it's very like a standard Enyaq car. It is a little bit strange that there's no RS badge here in the car, although you get some black lettering where there's normally silver and stuff like that. Bit of a boot spoiler. 585 litre boot space in the back of the Enyaq, so that's still huge. You're not losing space due to the extra motor in the car or anything like that. Decent enough size lip and storage for your Type 2 cable in the back also, so great boot, hasn't changed. Here inside the front of the cabin, you're still noticing there's not an awful lot of RS or VRS logos. There's a couple in the headrests, and these are, you know, upgraded bucket seats, and there's one RS piece of memorabilia on the bottom of the steering wheel, and that's it. Now, the 20s are standard, the head-up display is standard, crystal face is standard on this car, as is the upgraded sound system, and that's again where I feel they've kind of put a decent amount of value into the car compared to, I mean, it is a bigger jump, I get that, but you know, they've squeezed a few things into this car as standard. And on the outside, like, you remember an Octavia RS, it would have either green or red brake calipers. There's none of that. It's all a bit too discreet. And I don't know if Skoda are testing the water to see our electrified version of cars people have an interest in, the car RS branding and model trim, or what. I mean, obviously they put the extra performance into the motors and made it, you know, grippier and stuff like that, but just think the inside is just too like a normal Enyaq in a Sportline trim. By the way, this is June in Ireland. That's not a blown out, overexposed. That's cloud and mist in the Dublin mountains. So the straight line performance, absolutely there. You floor it, and there's enough power, really more than enough power. That's saying the 204 brake horsepower version of the Enyaq also has enough power. But yes, there's definitely a bit more grip here, so if you're, you know, I don't know, on the west coast of Ireland and you get more rain, you might want to have a grippier version of the car. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, it is a heavy car, so you're not necessarily going to be throwing this into corners. It will do its best to keep composed. You'll feel the chassis just kind of twist and struggle with the weight. Here's a corner that, I mean, because of the dual motor, there is plenty of grip. I will say that about the car, but you just get nervous going into bends, and your natural reaction is to apply a bit of braking force because you feel like the thing is going to topple over if you push it on too much. And again, an Octavia RS, that was the whole point. The brakes are good, the seats are comfortable. It is a nice driving position, even though this is that kind of SUV style. Everything's flying around here. You do see quite low down into the car. You kind of feel a little bit cocooned. The energy consumption is not budging below 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And this is a 77 kilowatt hour battery, which would suggest you're not going to get even 400 kilometers out of this car. And if you get the standard version on good summer days, you'll definitely scrape over 500 kilometers. And actually, if you have an Enyaq or an ID4 or an Audi Q4, please do leave your consumption feedback and kind of the furthest distance you've gone between charges, because that information is really, really helpful to people. So do comment down below if you have any feedback from ownership. But it steers just like an Enyaq. You know, I like the color. I do like the styling. I think they've been a little bit too conservative with the RS badging. You could probably say that's not as valid an argument if you get the Mamba green, just because that's so bright. It still doesn't have the badges on it though. It's like as if they're just gonna, yeah, we're just seeing if people like RS still, you know. And look, a die-hard Octavia RS petrol driver, this may not be something they're interested in anyway. That was obviously quite a cheaper car too, so there's quite a few variables there that have changed. But yeah, it's just interesting where they're shying away from it or something. Now, I haven't driven it on 20-inch alloys. I've only ever driven the Enyaq RS on 21s, including in Italy. And it's firm. It is firm. You're going over, depending on the size of ramps, and you're like, oh, if you don't slow down enough. And this is a very smooth road I'm on here now. And it's nice. But as soon as you encounter bumps, you're either going to slow down or you're going to feel every nook and cranny on the road. So it's another variant of the Enyaq because there's so many. It's done really, really well for Skoda in Ireland. And if you don't mind the extra 10,000 euro, which is a lot, like this car isn't going to qualify for grants or anything like that, is the promise that energy prices will come down. So potentially you'll be filling up your Enyaq with electric juice for less pretty soon, hopefully. But you can't get away from the fact that it is a good 10 to 12,000 euro, and for some people that's just going to be too much, and I do understand. But for those of you that just love the RS thing, that just want that extra special version of the car, this is probably worth a little look. So would I buy one? Well, in a weird way, because the price of cars has gotten so expensive, the gap between the standard Enyaq and the RS has actually closed quite a bit. I thought this would be an 85,000 euro car or something when it landed in Ireland, but it's 71 with the extra power. It's not too bad. Not getting away from the fact that it's still a huge amount of money. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And I suppose, think of it like, you know, a Golf GTI in the past. You sell so many more Golfs than GTI versions, and I'd imagine Skoda are expecting to do the same with the RS. Not going to be a massive seller. But if you're a fan of the model and you love a little bit of extra power and the performance bits that come with that car, then I could see why it might be something that might interest you.